Hello and welcome back to Transfer Review, where we put silly season under the microscope. Joining me today, it's Mikel McCubs, and we're shooting this on a Wednesday, the day before, but it's the morning after the night before, most crucially. England through to the quarterfinals. McCubs, you must be over the moon.
Yeah, I love it. It was the most un-England game I've ever seen. Like on the back foot in the first 10 minutes, and then grew into the game and controlled it and whatnot. I don't know, I'll have to watch the extended highlights again. Maybe it wasn't as good a performance as I remember, but I feel like everyone was very happy with what happened. And yeah, vindication for Southgate, yet more vindication for Sterling. Yeah, you love to see it. And yeah, got a pretty good draw opening up as well. So yeah, fingers crossed we can make it to the final.
Absolutely, yeah, except for some Kai Havertz magic throughout the game. I thought he was brilliant, and that Timo Werner miss. You know, we limited Germany to very little. We didn't create that much either, but it was a classic Southgate performance in this Euros. But anyway, let's get on to the transfers we're going to discuss. And the transfer we like this week is a bit of a shock one. It's Junior Firpo, rather, to Leeds United. And this came in from @LUFC Callum. What's going on with this one, McCubs?
Yeah, so Goal.com are reporting that they've agreed a €15 million move for Barcelona left-back Junior Firpo. The 24-year-old former Spain under-21 international was reportedly chased by a number of Serie A clubs. It is now set to be unveiled as Leeds' first signing, so it really looks like this is going to be happening. They claim that both Milan clubs, Southampton and West Ham had been monitoring his situation, but Bielsa has supposedly won the race. Of course, everyone knows about Barcelona's financial situation. We've covered extensively on this channel. And it was always expected that they were going to have to offload a number of players this summer, weren't they? Even with bringing in reinforcements on frees like Memphis and Eric Garcia. But yeah, they permanently offloaded Jean-Claire Todibo to Nice now, and they've released Mateus Fernandes, and Firpo looks to be following them out of the door. Annoyingly, Real Betis will receive 15% of the fee. That was part of the deal that took him to the Camp Nou in August 2019. But this has been on the cards for some time now, hasn't it? I think it was always expected Firpo was going to leave this summer. It's never worked out for him at the Camp Nou. Obviously brought in back in 2019. Had worked so well under Setien at Betis. That's what got him the move. Really looked like one of the best left backs / left wing backs in Spain. But then even when Setien came into Barca, it just never worked for him. Obviously played only 17 games in that 2019-20 season. Couldn't shift Jordi Alba, and has been even less present this term. Only 286 league minutes under Ronald Koeman. The 23rd in the squad. But while this is a good move, I think from a Barcelona's perspective, obviously they're getting some money back for a player who hasn't really worked out. I think I'm a really big fan of this from a Leeds perspective, actually. I think personally he will work really well under Bielsa. I think he's the kind of coach who can get the best out of him. But yeah, Dougie, elaborate on what kind of player Leeds are potentially getting.
Well, to answer that question, we kind of need to go back to his time at Real Betis, because obviously we've seen so little of him at Barcelona, particularly in the last 12 months or so. So, in terms of his background, well, he's born in the Dominican Republic. He moved to Andalusia with his family aged 6. He joined the Betis Academy aged 18. He made 14 appearances for them in 2017-18. It was somewhat of his breakout campaign. He scored twice and assisted twice, despite missing 11 games with injury. But it was the following year that he really came alive. He also missed 18 games with injury in 2018-19, which will be a slight concern for Leeds, that, in both of his 2 regular seasons at Betis, he broke down with injury. But he did make 24 La Liga appearances in 2018-19, contributed 3 goals and 4 assists as Betis finished 10th. They reached the Copa del Rey semi-finals that year as well, and the Europa League last 32. And Setien's side, they had an interesting record. They had a pretty poor defensive record. I think they had the 6th worst defence in La Liga, which ultimately sort of cost him his job. But they were very much capable of shocking the big boys that campaign. They beat Sevilla, Barcelona, Real Sociedad, Atleti, Villarreal and Real Madrid in the same season, which is in the same league season, which is really pretty impressive. And Firpo was a key part of that. He averaged 2.7 tackles and interceptions, so not massive defensive output, 0.9 shots, 0.9 key passes, 1.4 dribbles, but he had an amazing engine on that left-hand side, playing as a left wing-back or even as a left-back at times as well. And he was never the most progressive passer, just 1.9 passes into the final third per 90, but he had that huge engine, as I already said. 13.7 pressures per 90 and 6.1 progressive carries, which are carries over 5 yards. Now, you'd expect those numbers to shoot up in a Bielsa system if he's fully fit. Like Ejan Alioski, rather, their left back last year when it wasn't Stuart Dallas, etc. He completed nearly 20 pressures per 90, but only 5.1 progressive carries, so a whole one less than Firpo. But still, I think he's a bit of an upgrade on Alioski when he's fully fit as well. And as long as he can stay on the pitch, he's missed at least 5 games in 3 of the last 4 seasons, then I think it'll be a great addition to Leeds. Interestingly, there's still reports that they are looking at Javi Galan as well from Huesca, who had a fantastic year at Huesca last year, despite their eventual relegation. I believe they went down in the end. I think he completed the 2nd most dribbles in La Liga behind Messi. So Leeds were certainly looking in La Liga for great bargains. He'll obviously be able to speak the same language as Bielsa as well. And I think this is a really exciting move for Firpo and for Leeds United. And as McCubs said, it feels like a bit of a win-win for Barcelona and Leeds. Barcelona get a player they're not really using off their books. Leeds bring in an experienced performer at the top level who's still only 24, probably got room to grow. So overall, we like this transfer. But Leeds fans, we want to hear from you. What do you guys make of it? And who do you want to see you guys bring in next? Let us know in the comments down below. And let's move on to the transfer we hate.
The transfer we don't like has come in from @BradleyBissett, and it's Aaron Ramsdale to Arsenal, Dougie. What's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, this one was getting flooded in the replies to my tweet. Loads of Arsenal fans getting in touch saying they do not want Aaron Ramsdale. But it seems like it's on fairly firm ground in terms of a rumour. The Athletic claim that their new chief negotiator, Richard Garlick, is working closely with technical director Edu and Arteta on 4 or 5 significant signings for Arsenal this summer. Obviously, that's dependent on the likes of Torreira and Guendouzi leaving, etc. So we'll see what happens. But they claim that a move for Anderlecht's Lokonga and Ben White are expected to be completed, with the latter hastening the departure of William Saliba as well. Mavropanos has already left to join Stuttgart, or I believe that's about to be completed. But in a more surprising move, that they claim that Arsenal have made contact with Sheffield United for Aaron Ramsdale, who's currently acting as 3rd choice at Euro 2020. I've actually been watching some of the England content on YouTube, and Ramsdale's been performing pretty well in goal. So Sam Johnson. It looks like they've got a good thing going there. I advise you to go check it out as well. Some of the behind-the-scenes stuff from the England camp, it just gets you even more in the mood. Anyway, back to this rumour. The report claims that Arsenal have been chasing a new goalkeeper ever since Emi Martinez's departure to Aston Villa. Obviously, Icelandic international Alex Runarsson failed to impress last season. They then signed Matt Ryan on loan from Brighton in January. That's unclear about whether they'll sign him permanently. I've also read that Celtic are interested in Matt Ryan as well. So, according to Malta reports, it looks like Bernd Leno, the 29-year-old goalkeeper for Arsenal, who's been playing there for 3 seasons, I believe, they're going to meet after the Euros, which now Bernd Leno's Germany are obviously knocked out of, to discuss his future. So I don't know why they'd want to sell Bernd Leno, but maybe if he wanted to leave to play in a Champions League competing club and maybe try and displace Manuel Neuer and Ter Stegen in the list of Germany goalkeepers, then maybe he feels he needs to be at a playing at a top level. But in terms of this transfer, McCubs, Aaron Ramsdale to Arsenal, what are you thinking about this?
Yeah, I can see why Arsenal fans are concerned. He certainly isn't at Leno's level, not yet anyway. I think he came in for maybe a little bit of unnecessary stick last season. He wasn't amazing, but he's still only 23. He's obviously, he's only played 2 full seasons of Premier League football, and unfortunately he's been relegated twice, obviously with Bournemouth the season before. And yeah, the defensive record of these sides were not great when he was in goal. Bournemouth conceded 65 goals in 38 games. Only Villa and Norwich conceded more in the 2019-20 season, that is. And yeah, last season, Sheffield United conceded 63 goals in 38 games, the 4th worst defensive record in the league. But yeah, in both seasons, he kind of ranked kind of average. 14th out of keepers to have played over 20 league games. In terms of post-shot expected goals in 2019-20, he let in 0.3 more than expected, basically, performing as expected goals would have expected him to. Last season, slightly better actually. He ranked 12th. He saved 1.9 more than expected. Leno saved 4.1 for comparison. And he was a very busy keeper. Only Johnston and Meslier made more than his 3.8 saves per 90. One thing that I think is a concern is his kicking. Obviously, at Arsenal, his distribution, you'd imagine, would get a little bit better just because he's aiming for more technically adept players in the field. However, only completes 43% of his long balls. Only Sam Johnston actually completed fewer in the whole division last season. It might be because he attempts a lot, to be fair. Obviously, Sheffield United were increasingly going long last term, and yeah, he attempted 22 long balls a game, only lower than Johnston's 25 in the Prem. So that would be a concern for me. I think, yeah, there are a number of, noises around this move that are a little bit concerning. I think mainly because the fact that if Leno does leave, then Arsenal have a big replacement job on their hands, and yeah, Ramsdale's just not at that level at this moment in time, and it could be a really busy summer for Arsenal, couldn't it? They could be recruiting up to 2 midfielders, centre back. Obviously, they're still looking for extra creativity as well, and full back cover too, especially if Hector Bellerin was to leave. Obviously, there have been a few noises around that as well. So yeah, having to change goalkeeper, it would not be an ideal situation considering how much work they're already doing to that squad. And if they did, PSG's Alphonse Areola would be a much better shout, I think. Obviously, he was excellent for Fulham last term. I think that move would have been made permanent had they stayed up, but of course they didn't. And Donnarumma has now signed for PSG. Keylor Navas is going nowhere. Areola must be up for grabs, and he saved at 7.6 XG last season. That was the best in the division. Away from the stats, he was Fulham's best player in a number of games. Really kept them in a lot of games throughout the campaign. So for a player who's impressed so much in the Premier League of late, I think Areola, a good age, has a number of years left, and is at that level, which I think there wouldn't be too much of a wouldn't notice too much of a difference between Bernd Leno and him. So I think that would be my suggestion for Arsenal. But what do you guys think? Are you a fan of this move? Are you not? And if not, why not? Let us know in the comments below. I think that's all we have time for, Dukes. Where should they go next if they enjoyed this?
Absolutely. Why don't you go check out yesterday's top 10 that dropped on EuroFootball Daily. It was 10 managers who just can't get a job, featuring the likes of Marco Silva and Dunga as well. Do you remember Dunga, the Brazil coach? He hasn't had a job for years. I don't know whether he's even looking for a job, but he's included.
Love it. Love it. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.